Woo! Listen to that. Namaste, Val. Namaste. 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 Namaste in the attic. That's what I've been doing for 3 years. It's your boy Tommy D and my gal Val. What's up, Val? What's going on? This is the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. We'll tell you all about it in a second. But what's up, Val? What's going on?
Nothing. Just really, I'm psyched for the show. So let's jump in.
So right in. All right, listen. If you've never been with us before, where have you been all this time? But if you have been with us before, then you know that we want to amplify the message that the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. We're encouraging you. Let's support one another in business by continuing to build and nurture this compassionate community so that everyone wins.
Especially the animals.
I got nervous. You disappeared and then you were back and I was worried about the punchline there. All right, so we got it, especially the animals. How do we achieve this? Look, we're doing networking, strike it, pet working events. We do this bi-weekly radio show podcast called P.A.L, Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. And we really want to support nonprofit organizations, rescues. We want to support business people who are focused on the community. And I will tell you this, gang, real things have happened. We could tell you 100 stories, but I will tell you one. My partner in this particular operation and journey found and started a business that she may not have found and started if it wasn't for this show. That kind of tells you this is a real thing and real things are happening. So we will sort of put that on the side for now. We do have a guest. Val, what do you want to talk about before we introduce JB? I know a lot of JB, but it says in the little corner, JB, John Bilello. So JB, we'll introduce you. Hello. I'm all mixed up. JB, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Tommy, how you doing?
It's like it's hot in the attic. I put the air conditioner on. I got the hat on. Not sure.
You look good. You look good. The colors are popping. You got that summer vibe going on. Look like you're on maybe an island.
I am on an island.
You are on an island.
I am. Long Island. What's up, Val?
Yeah. So I would be remiss if I did not mention this kind of like latest little success story. So I just want to say what we're trying to do, right, is highlight people from all walks of life who are just doing great things for animals. And we're trying to cast a light on them so that also other people might be interested in their products and their services, or even just supporting their causes, or even voting for them, right? So we've had on several elected officials who are doing great things for animals. And so the most recent success story that I want to mention is a good friend of mine that I knew from volleyball, and also just has like the biggest heart. And of course, she's an animal lover. She recently did a career change. So we were on the phone talking a little bit, and I was asking her, like, who are good, referral sources for you? Who can I connect you to? And I ended up connecting her to several, people, a CPA, an employment lawyer, and also a good friend of mine who's a partner in a insurance company. His name happens to be Tommy DeMisa. But, the whole point is that animal lovers will go out of their way to help other compassionate people because we want them to be successful. And the more successful they are, the better it translates to the animals. So yay.
Love that. So talk about a yay. So first, shout out to you, Val. Way to think of good connections. That's sort of what we do as connectors, right? And way to see those opportunities that other people might not see. And your friend who you're referring to and I had lunch the other day out in Northport. It happened to be the same day where I drove my guy Cheeto out to have an operation. I had to drive him way out to Long Island. My guy Cheeto, check him out on Instagram. That is my puppy, my guy Cheeto. He's downstairs, disappointed that he's not up here in the attic. But we drove Cheeto out, had to leave him there for a bunch of hours, and then I had lunch with our friend and then drove back out to pick up Cheeto because he had to have a little operation because part of the requirement, Val, is this is an informative piece, is when you rescue a puppy, we got to set it up so they can't make more puppies. And I'll just leave it at that, because this is a family show, and I'm not teaching.
Spay neuter, baby, spay neuter.
They spay and neuter, right? Yeah. Like our old friend Bob Barker, right? Have your pets spayed and neutered. Yes. He got this real quick story. Look, he got this giant cone that was way too big. Cheeto weighs 13.4 pounds. This cone was for somebody wwho weighed about 113.42. God, ridiculous. And he looked ridiculous. And I was like, my guy. And I felt bad for him. So I went to the pet shop and got like a smaller one. I don't think it's, and I also got one looks like a tube. Like, you know what I'm talking about? So anyway,
like a neck collar.
Like a neck collar, but it's actually stylish. Like he's looking good around the neighborhood. You should see dog's looking at him. And it's good that now he's all set. Anyway, we better stop before I get inappropriate. But it's good that he's all set now if he does find it.
Did you take any photos of the 135-pound cone?
I got it. I texted the Valley the other day, JB. He's in the car with me, and the cone is goddamn big. And it's like his head is like if you're only listening, you're not seeing this. But just picture like my head is flopped over. He couldn't pick his poor head up.
Oh, they gave him an extra large. So anyway, speaking of animal lovers, I wanted to circle back to the guest because
he's already in the conversation. Let's introduce.
Yeah, it's super interesting that when I met him at an event that actually his sister was throwing, of course, what do we end up talking about? Our dogs and our dog's diet and our dog's health and all of that. And so we ended up finding out what he does for a living, and he owns this great company. He does social media and videos and editing and all that stuff that I can't do. And because of his love for animals, plus his skill set, I want to make sure that we emphasize that we're not just hiring anyone. They have to be good at what they do, but the fact that he's an animal lover was a big plus. So we've been using him for our social media, and we love his work. But by all means, Tommy, I know I sent you the bio.
I did. I mean, look, there's so much stories here. And the first time I met John with Valerie a month ago, Valerie couldn't even get a chance to introduce us because the two of us.
Right.
And I worry for you, Val, because I feel like it might happen again. But
no, I'm being very, very cautious. I'm not gonna let it run off into the, me and Tommy just talking about Long Island and stuff.
Yeah, Long Island. So he was the P.A.L Academy. I want to talk about that, but it's based on the mindset of failure being our best teacher and not to fear it. Love that. They say fail forward, right? Think about that, gang. It's all about, look, I know this. I listen to a lot of the Tony Robbins and the Brian Tracy's and Dr. Joe Dispenza. These are my guys. And look, if you don't put yourself out there and take some chances, like, let's just say a really quick story. Let's say your friend calls you up and is like, hey, I see you're doing a podcast again. I really want to do a podcast. And I said, sure. It'll be about animals, right? And she said, yes. And I said, well, it's great because I do a video and audio podcast. She says, absolutely not. And the funny part about it is because the answer is absolutely yes. And she got out of her comfort zone. And back in that September-ish of 21, I guess, that's right, what it was. Yeah. I think September 1st, we started doing the show, and now it is a raving success, but it's about pushing each other out of your comfort zone. So the P.A.L Academy, this company that we're going to talk a little bit about today, Rogue One Media, started in 2022. Val's been raving about you, JB. So I see it says JB.
JB.
I want to make sure because it says it in the little bottom of your square there. And I've always been Tommy D. Only since I'm like 2 years old have I been Tommy D. So now I know you're JB. Let's talk, man. Let's take it away. Tell us about your background. Tell us some stories.
And tell us about your animal activism.
I'm gonna get there.
Val, please let the man talk.
Seriously, I have it in my notes. It says
Tommy's the host.
Okay. Hold on.
No. Oh boy, here we go.
Right.
See, we can't do post-production. I can't edit this.
There is no post-production. We are
Val, where'd you go?
Partners. We are a team. Don't you dare turn off your camera.
Val, by the way, you look fantastic today. I love how you look bright, chipper, and the background, everything, you just look good. As well as Tommy does too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Animal advocate, avid lover of animals, rescuing everything from, check this out, gang, dogs, cats, pigeons, iguanas, turtles, and ferrets. Tremendous love for animals. Valerie, we have a friend here. We are a team. It is always Valerie and Tommy D. It is not, Tommy D is not the host of anything except philanthropy and focus. Val, what's up with your hat before you introduce John? What is that hat about?
This is our neighbor, Noble Dog Hotel, and I love what they do. They're excellent luxury hotel, highest of standards. So I had to buy a hat one day because I forgot mine at home, and I was like, I know where to go. But yeah, and also just to emphasize, I like to buy and shop as local as possible. So we're talking about supporting our neighbors in the community. Shop, dine, donate, local.
Love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Since you brought that up really quick, what I want to say is my dad owns ISIS in Huntington, and my dad donates ISIS constantly for me to bring to nonprofits. They would melt by the time I got to South Carolina, so I don't think that's going to work. But we could try something. But the thing is, that's all important because these are businesses. Val, I do have a question for you about that. Let's get it on the show later on about ice cream for dogs. Talk to you about it later on. JB, let's talk. Let's get into this. Tell us about what you do. Tell us about the work you've done with animals. Valerie and I will pop in with questions, I'm sure. But like I said, after we spoke one time and I couldn't get a word in edgewise, I think maybe you're going to be hosting the show in a second.
Well, I mean, I could have used your dad on the 4th. I was on Long Island and we were like making ice runs back and forth. So if I had known, if this episode aired, I had known, I would have definitely reached out to your dad, because I was in Farmingdale. So your dad was in Huntington?
Yeah, he has a store right next to the Paramount Theater on New York Avenue in Huntington. And
right.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So when you're out here, I'll take you for an ice.
Nice, yeah. When I'm back, but yeah, it was a nice trip, and good to be back in the home stretch over there. But yeah, I excuse me, I lost my voice over that trip as well. Yeah, it was pretty good. And it was working, filming, doing all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just always been someone who kind of like ran away from mediocrity. I didn't like things that were safe and kind of just like your life was already planned and you just kind of went to work 40 years, got your pension, got married, kids, house, and retirement. I always just said there's more out there, and I want to just see it. I want to chase big dreams, and I just want to experience more than just the average life. So that requires taking risks, and that requires failing. And so I wanted to be in films, and I've always been a filmmaker. Like since I was like 8 years old, I was walking around with my grandfather's gigantic VHS camcorder, filming the family videos and editing them on VCRs. And I just was always there. So filmmaking and then acting was a big passion of mine. So I just went out to California and just gave it a shot and just grinded it out for 8 years in Hollywood, got the agents and the manager, did all that, got beat up.
Did you get in?
That's always the thing. What were you in? Yeah, I did stuff, and like little soap opera stuff, bit stuff, commercials, whatever. But it was like the big break didn't come, and so you grind, and you pour, and you don't care. The first year, you're very intimidated by the whole thing. It's a big, gigantic mountain you got to climb. But then after like a certain period of time, you kind of get a chip on your shoulder, and you kind of like you don't care anymore, and that's when things start to happen. When you kind of get into like that groove. But in the process, during that time, it was like the late 90s, I started just discovering like the video camera and making videos, like because a movie came out called The Blair Witch Project. It was shot on a VHS camcorder, and it broke all the rules. It did like $100 million in revenue, like the opening weekend. And it was like maybe like a $50,000 budget that was with Hollywood. I think the kids shot it for like $5,000, and it was a gigantic success. And it opened the door for everybody to just start shooting on video, and it was wide open. And that's what I did. I just started shooting everything. I was documenting my journey as an actor in Hollywood. I was making these things, but there was no social media. There was no YouTube. There was nothing to post it to. So I was creating a show that I was pitching to because there was no reality shows either. It was just like an MTV reality show. Nothing existed. I was ahead of my time. And pardon the voice again, but I was pitching it to the studios because that's all you could do back then. There was no way to get exposure. And then during that time of pitching to the studios, I was like this close to it all happening. And you know what happens sometimes with success? It becomes so overwhelming that you self-destruct. Like there's people that actually destruct when they're right there to grab it. They don't feel like maybe they deserve it or whatever it is, but they just self-destruct. And that's what I did. I just self-destructed and kind of just spiraled off into just a kind of like a wild, dark phase. And I was with the wrong group of people, got caught up into drugs, and just kind of ruined the whole thing. And then just kind of fell from there, and then had to get out of Hollywood to get myself build myself back up, and just left, came back home, got in trouble with the law, came back home, and just started over clean and fresh, got myself clean, went straight narrow, and then just went from there, and broke away from the whole filmmaking video things and stuff for years, and fell in love with poker. And then I just started pouring myself into the poker life, became a professional.
Time out. Sorry. I just want to say something really quickly because I'm compelled to. But first of all, I thank you for your openness and candidness. There's a lot of people who wouldn't want to talk about that. But also, I know, as I'm sure many or most people do know people who have substance abuse issues, and whether it's alcohol, drugs, or, whatever. And most of them, sadly, I don't know what the exact statistic is. I think for AA, like alcohol, it was like 1 in 8, will make it through. And like my aunt is a recovering alcoholic and hasn't had a drink, I think, since I was in like 4th grade. But the point is that most people don't break out of it. And so I just want to really say congratulations.
True.
I'm really proud of you. And I know you're a great guy. So I'm really happy for you that you were able to break that and,
The
create
best thing,
your
the best
life.
thing that happened to me was I getting arrested. That actually,
Thank you.
it was saved me because
Yes.
like it pulled me out of the whole environment and
Yes.
forced me to just, get myself straightened out. And then when I left, I mean, I actually did a couple of years, and because of that, and it was best thing that happened to me. I got clean, sober, got in shape, got my head straight, planned it out, and then left that whole. I never went back to that environment. Never saw any of the people that were around me. And they told me, they said it was like an 85% chance that I would be relapsing, or I would be back in, getting trouble again. So I was up against some serious odds.
Yeah.
And I never even got a speeding ticket for the entire time I was like on probation. I mean, I was just straight, narrow, hardworking, and just never messed around. And I was really proud of that. And
Yeah.
I beat those statistics, and that was.
And you should be proud of that. And I'm so happy because you know what? You are a great guy. You're super talented and you're very lovable. And I'm glad because, now we're friends and
Right.
I love having you around. And
Right.
so anyway, it's a very,
I mean, it wasn't even about my life. I was never in those kinds of situations. So it was like a short period where I just got caught up, and it can happen to anyone, especially when you're in Hollywood, Vegas. These places will tear you up.
yeah.
But even still, during those times, me and the girl I was with at the time, we always took in animals. We always rescued dogs, and literally everything that we wrote on there. We had a turtle literally knock on my door one time. We just opened the door, and there was this turtle in front of the door. We took it in, and it was a home. Had an iguana. We took a pigeon with a broken wing, nursed it back to health, then let it fly away. That's just what we were, and that's what felt good. It always felt good to be a part, no matter how bad things were in life, to help an animal that was struggling on the streets, ribs popping out. Maybe it was used as like a dog for other dogs to fight.
Big dog, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, you give them a chance, you give them a second chance, and they eat it up. They appreciate it because they came from such a hard start. And it just feels good to see them become healthy again, happy, running around. So we had a house full of animals. So yeah, and I was part of PETA and ALF.
It's a parallel too. It's an inspirational parallel because if you think about it, like, animals can be rehabilitated just like people can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of them are going to be traumatized, like the rescue I have now. Rosie got her a year ago, and she was in bad shape. She was afraid of everything in the world. She had heartworms. She had a rib sticking out. They found her on the street. The foster took them 2 weeks for her to come actually into the house. She stayed under the deck. So she was really traumatized. So I've got her for a year now, and she's come a long, long way.
She definitely does not have ribs sticking out anymore.
No, she's actually need to lose a few. So, and then of course I met you guys and transitioned her to Raw. And she was just happy to find out, because I was searching and searching. She had allergies, she had this, that, and it was the kibble, and they were giving me prescription kibble, and it was just not working. And I was frustrated and just losing. Like I was like, what am I going to find to help this dog? And finally, because I tried it all, finally I came across the Raw, started learning about it, and then we haven't turned back since. And it's been a really good experience just learning about it, and just now it all becomes clear once you see what dogs, where they come from, what their diets really do need and consist of. It's not like complex or hidden anymore. It's just easy now. In the beginning, you think it's hard because it's like, oh, you have to put these balanced meals together. But when you find the canine shop, it's already done for you. You just serve it. It's just like that's it. It's over. I don't have to go to a pet store and do that. I just go to your store and I get the food and just serve it, and I don't have to worry about what the balance is. It's already done for me. So that's a
I
home
want
run.
to say also that John is like, I mean, to me, it's fun. I'm sure it's fun for him too, but like our Instagram page. So social media is one of those things. It's like, I can do it, I'm okay at it. I hate doing it though, because I find it to be very time consuming and you're always trying to come up with a cool caption and hashtags and whatever. But, John has done such a great job. I don't know if you could pull up the Instagram page, Tommy, but literally like he gave us a proposal. We went forward. I believe his proposal originally was like to get 200 followers within like 30 days. And he far exceeded that. And I mean, we're only open about 6 weeks. We have over 600 followers already.
Yeah.
And it is because I think not only does he work really hard and he knows how to do editing and, captions and all of that, but he has a real passion for animals. So this is like a great marriage of like his passion plus his skill set. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
yeah. And I really want to encourage everyone, like, honestly, if you need someone who does social media, we can't recommend him highly enough. The guy is like a true workaholic. He's very dedicated. If I send him an idea, he's always like, great, love it, gonna run with it, whatever.
Because they're good ideas.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, well, I hope if it's a bad idea, you would tell me that too. But it's very natural for him. And we get customers that say, I saw this post on Instagram. I saw you on Facebook. I'm coming in because I started following you. And so we know the proof is in the pudding, like a lot of our customers are from social media.
I mean, social media is it's so powerful, and it really is the most effective way to really advertise, market, gain customers, gain following, build a community. It just is, and it took a while for the big brands to catch on, and we had the whole space to ourselves. But now everybody realizes what the reach you can have. It's better than having a commercial on an NBC network during the morning show. It really is, because if you're going to spend that kind of money on something like that, it's going to go a lot farther on social media. But it is difficult. It's time consuming. It's tedious. You got to be consistent. You got to post every day. And people that are running businesses just don't have the time or the brain power to sit there and come up with ideas and shoot videos and stuff like that. So you hire agencies, or you hire videographers or social media managers, and they do it for you. But that's also like, they have to get results. They got to be able to, there's a lot out there that'll just get you followers that might not be real. They might just use bots to pump up the numbers. We're building local communities, targeting local pet owners and pet enthusiasts. And so whatever numbers we get is going to be organic, and it's going to be people that are actually going to turn into customers. So that's the whole point.
Right now, Ruxin, the bulldog. I love
these are all the dogs that come into the shop, and they shoot them. They'll send them to me. I'll make a post, and so it's a teamwork effort. And just come on down to the canine shop in Hampton Station.
I have to say this,
pull it out, promote the brand. We're at that point in the show. Let's get it out there.
Well, you're not promoting Val. Let me tell you something. I know Val. Tommy knows Val. She's she's a giver, and she never feels that she should talk about herself. She never feels that she should promote herself. And it's ridiculous.
Let's talk about Barry. If we don't talk about Valerie.
Yeah, all right, Barry. Barry loves to promote. So let's get him and just start talking about it a little more often. But yeah, that's the gang, and they're great people. I love them. I love working with them. We became very good friends, and we're very close now. It's just kind of like a brother sister kinship immediately, right off the very comfortable. And we work hard. There's no joke about it. We do work hard, and so good things are happening. Because of that. And we're good people.
Thank you. And I want to say this too, that anyone can learn this skill set, right? Just like you can learn another language if you want to. But I really want to encourage, I'm talking to the business owners because I know the pain of it. And I want to encourage people, like, if you're struggling with your social media and it's the bane of your existence, you know, just delegate what you hate. I say that all the time. Like, I don't do the bookkeeping for the business. I have no desire to do it. Could I do it? Sure. You know, there are certain things it's not in my wheelhouse. And that's what other professionals are for. So, you know, can you build your own website? Sure. But do you want to? Is it something you really want to learn? Is it something that you're passionate about? Because if it's not, get it off your plate. And anyway, so
You have to delegate. Too many small business owners try to do everything themselves, and you slow yourself down because you have to learn things. You just get someone else that knows how to do it and get them to do it, and you'll have more free time to build your business.
And literally, the E-Myth, the book.
Can Tommy talk, Val? Is Tommy allowed to talk on the show? You cut him off.
He's going to take it away from here because he probably knows the book I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I get really excited about this. But the E-Myth is a great book, which every business
I'm sorry, what was it? The what?
The E-Myth.
Oh, E-Myth. Okay.
It's a great book that every business owner should read, because the main crux of it is that this is the reason why most small businesses fail, because they try to wear every hat.
It's true.
I'm done talking now.
I was ironically, I'm trying to get you the E-Myth. The E-Myth Revisited is the book. The author is Michael Gerber.
Yes.
If you check out the website, if you want, we don't get a commission on this, so it'd be cool if we did. emyth.com, EMYTH.com. I was going to say I'll put it in the chat, but this is not a Zoom meeting that anybody's really here except us. But so I'll do. Maybe I'll share it on Facebook. I guess a couple of things that I would think was, so Val, do me a favor, Valerie. So let's pretend like I'm interviewing you right now. What is the Canine Shop in Greenville, South Carolina?
Okay, so the Canine Shop is actually a franchise that's headquartered from Long Island, New York, started by Rob and Anya Tucker, who originally were just dog owners and dog parents who were passionate about their dogs. And Anya started doing a lot of homework about species appropriate diet. They started feeding their dogs raw. Their neighbors started seeing improvements in their dogs, their skin, their energy, everything. And so then their neighbors were like, hey, can you hook me up? I want this food for my dogs. And it grew and grew and grew from their garage. And now they have 4 locations on Long Island, New York. And we are their first location out of New York, with rights to North and South Carolina. That's how much we believe in this. And quite frankly, it is because of this podcast where we brought on a clinical pet nutritionist who owns a raw pet food store in Rhode Island. Her name is Jonna Devereaux, where she educated me. I almost fell off my chair because I thought we were feeding our dog really well, but we weren't. And we learned a lot from her. And then we had Rob Tucker on the show as well a few months later. And it blew my mind. It blew my husband's mind. And we just couldn't get enough information. We changed our dog's diet. It helped him tremendously improve his agility and mobility again. And so we're so passionate about it because once you learn about what goes into commercial pet food, then it really opens your eyes. You kind of get angry and you want to do something about it. So we're out here to help dogs and cats. And cats. My cat Puffy is diabetic and she has to have insulin shots twice a day. After changing her diet, and we've been feeding her raw for like a year now, she has dropped her insulin need by 50%. That is huge. If we can fully reverse diabetes, can you imagine? I mean, like my goal
That's amazing.
is to have 0 shots. Absolutely.
Wow.
She's thriving.
Love that. You know, I saw it. The address is 1320 Hampton Avenue, EXT Suite 10B, Greenville, South Carolina. Jen, if you wanted to send like a piece of mail, you would need the zip code as well. And the zip code is 29601. Or if you want to put in your GPS, but usually these GPSs are pretty smart and you don't even need the zip code. But I'm dying to get down there and I'm planning a road trip. I just haven't figured out when. I'm going to share this.
September 30th for the Ultimate race.
Is it September 30th?
Yeah, we're sponsoring the Ultimate annual 5K race that people do with their dogs. Or if your dog is not interested in a 5K, you can actually do it with a sponsored dog up for adoption.
That's right.
I'm going to do it with a sponsored dog.
I'm supposed to. So JB is going to sponsor dog. Maybe sponsor Cheeto. Or no, I guess you want to sponsor dog.
Cheeto can do a 5K?
Yeah, I mean, 5K is no big deal.
My
Like
You don't
my
have
my
to
dog.
run. You can walk, you can carry them, whatever.
5K is for everybody, you know, like that's
How is a 5K? Like 2 miles, 3 miles,
3.5, I think.
3
Yeah.
miles? Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
In
But
the
again,
heat.
you hoof it, you know, but again, I mean, to get to wherever that is, that's probably 700 miles that I have to drive. I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating from Long Island, but
No, it's about 750.
that'll be kind of
I just did it.
that'll be kind of a fun thing because Val, I see a whole road trip. Talk about being the documentarian and stuff like that, JB, and I'm giving you that title. But like, talk about that. Like, what about? I do a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm trying to document it on my phone, not trying
Right.
to do.
I mean, listen, everybody has a phone now that is capable of producing professional quality video and photos. You don't need to buy a thousands and thousands of dollar camera. I mean, your phone alone is like $1,500.
Yeah.
So you literally can shoot whatever you want and create and that's the beauty of it because everyone has access to now to make and document and tell stories. And I've just always just been fascinated with documenting stuff because it's the real life. And I mean, real life is sometimes just more extraordinary than the fiction. And the stories that unfold that you don't know what's going to happen until it just happens is exciting. And then when it does and you capture it, it tells a story. So I've just become, she's always telling me that thing is always on. It's always with me. I'm always filming. It's like, wow, this would be a good thing to film. And I just keep going. And it's that's what you got to just do. Just film and don't worry about what you're saying, what you're doing. Just let life take you. And so if you're going to go on a trip, just film it and use your phone.
And that's the thing too. And I do a lot. I go out and I volunteer with these nonprofits. And you know, the only challenge I haven't like, and maybe you have an answer for this, because I did buy one of those little
GoPros.
yeah, I bought a GoPro and I haven't used it like
They're
once.
good too. Yeah, they're
But
good.
like the challenge for it is like I'm the guy on the camera, but I'm also the guy holding the camera.
Right,
Not
right.
exactly ideal. So like I called out people recently because I was like, you know, I'd really like to have a camera person, like
Right.
somebody who's like, you know, in film school or whatever, like
Right.
out with me and like document this stuff. Like we have a friend of mine,
Yes.
you know,
That is ideal. Definitely having someone do it for you. But most people, you have to just develop the kind of like comfort and skill set to do it yourself because 90% of the people, we're not going to be able to hire and have somebody follow us around everywhere we go. And so you got to learn. And eventually, I mean, for me, it just became like an extension of my body where I just always had it, knew kind of where to hold it. And I mean, if you go in my car, you'll see there's like those phone holders on in the center, in the left, in the right, and then so I could put it anywhere while I'm driving. And cars are a good place to film because something moving in the background helps keep things moving along so it's not stagnant. It just has good lighting usually. It's a good place to film. The audio is good because you're in an enclosed environment. So a lot of people film stuff in their cars for social media, and it's a good place. And if you're going on a road trip, it's a great place. So you could just get a couple of the phone holders, put them up around, and go. So you won't even have to hold it. So there are ways to do it.
I got to trick out my car. So there's one funny video I did. So I called my friend from the Allied Foundation, which they get diapers for families in need, right? And there's another friend of ours, the Hamptons Community Outreach Center, and I said to the folks at Hamptons Community Outreach, I said, hey, would it help like if I went out to Hop Hog and picked up like a truck full of diapers and drove them out to you in the Hamptons, and like you would do that? And I'm like, yeah, would that be cool? Like, and they're like, yeah. So I rented a U-Haul van and I went out there and I'm on at like exit 69 or 70 on the expressway. And I was like, I'm going to shoot a video right here. Right. So like I go to the back of the van and I open, gang, if you're not listening in Long Island, people are driving 75 miles an hour down the road. Like that. And I'm out there going, hey, it's your boy Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector. I got all these diapers in the back here, man. Look at these diapers. And like filming that. And like I didn't do it live because that would have been even crazier, I think. But like that's kind of funny stuff to me, man. Like that's it, JB. Like that
sounded like Crazy Eddie.
Yeah.
Remember Crazy Eddie?
Yeah.
Crazy Eddie.
Insane.
Yeah.
I could picture that with the cars going by.
I'm gonna send you the video. It's on Instagram.
You know
cool.
what I love too, though, is like, so I don't know exactly when this started happening, probably 2 years ago, roughly, but the videos, and again, this is a skill set that I love, but I just don't want to figure out how to do it. But like when you take a video and then you set it like to music, and then on top of that, you have it like going back and forth, like different scenes, different images. I don't know how you do all of that and sew it together so that it's seamless. But on top of that, everyone's using words now, right? So like the captions come up or certain words get highlighted and they pop on the screen. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into this. And
Yeah, the subtitles are big.
yeah, and that's part of I guess the appeal, right, of hiring a professional, because again,
Yeah.
each one of those things I just mentioned is going to take hours and hours and hours to learn. So I feel that,
It's tedious, yeah, but you have to do it nowadays, like because you got to keep up with the trends and you got to
Yeah.
keep up with what the thing is. The attention spans, it goes less and less every year. In the old days, people could sit through a boring movie for hours. Now it's 7 seconds that the average attention span spends watching anything for more than 7 seconds. So you have like literally 3 seconds to capture them before they bounce, and then they're only going to stay 7 seconds.
What were you guys saying?
Sorry, Tommy.
I got distracted. So you had 7 seconds. You blew it. So I think what my friend Valerie is doing here is she's really teeing up this opportunity for what it is you do. Because this is a hell of a skill set that you and your team have. So what does that look like to engage in working with you? We shared some of the Instagram posts that you and your folks have done for Val at the Canine Shop, which is in Greenville, South Carolina. It's on 1320 Hampton Avenue EXT. What does the EXT stand for? I blow that every
Extension. I had to ask that too. I
feel like we got like a paid bit here where I'm putting them in. But anyway, that's the Canine Shop. But what you're doing for them, teach us how we can connect you to other people who want the same type of service, JB.
Well, first of all, you go to the Canine Shop webpage, the Instagram and Facebook pages, and then just kind of take a look at how it looks, how it's done, and then kind of see how it could translate into your business or your personal page. Obviously, that's a pet food store, so it's applying to that, but could be for anything, auto mechanic shop, a hairdressing shop, whatever. We just apply it to yours. But you see that there's a system in place, and my system is I like to mix it up between educational, entertaining, and then product development, product information. So to keep people that are going to become customers, because it's business that we're dealing with. If it's an influencer, then we're going to center everything around that person, that individual's life, and everything. But this is a business, so we're going to make it funny. We're going to make it entertaining. We're going to make it educational. You're going to learn, and then we're going to show you what the products are that we have, and we're going to give you a good cover page so you kind of just makes it look clean and sharp. Yeah. So that's pretty much the system. It works. I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at social media building. I've done it on quite a few accounts and from zero. So like taking an account from zero, everyone is intimidated by that because you're like, I don't have anybody. And when you get like 1 or 2 people, it's exciting. I remember when we got our first 5 people, we got 5 people. Because you think about it, you're like 5 people actually looked at this and said, I want to continue following you. And I appreciate it.
So it's not just like, oh, Valerie's cousin started to follow. You're saying like people.
Right. Like strangers.
Right. So
yeah.
I cannot emphasize enough to you that this was such a vital decision for us because we don't really know people here. Okay,
right.
We're relatively new to this area still. We're here a year and a half, and to be completely forthcoming, for the first year that we moved here, I was kind of like a recluse.
Right.
I really was like, I don't know what it was. It was a combination of probably just like
the networker became a recluse. That's a tough transition.
It was very strange. Tommy knows. Tommy was like, I don't believe this, but like literally.
New state. You left New York.
Well,
change.
No, we left New York, went to Florida.
Oh, that's right. You went to Florida.
And so I think because while in Florida, I did do a lot of socializing. There was like neighbor group meetups and all of that, and I was doing it. And then we moved. And I guess I was just like, do I really want to start over again? Like, and I would call my friends in New York and catch up with them. And it just became easy to kind of like not do much else. But that said,
it pushes you to do this. The store has pushed you out to say, like, I got to build a brand, even if I don't want to.
That's correct. And not only that, but this show.
Yeah.
This show literally has changed our lives. It's changed the way that we feed our animals. And now we started a business.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You were already living in South Carolina when you decided to open the business?
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't like you came here with already the plan to open the business. You were just here. You weren't.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you were going to do then. You were just like,
Correct.
oh wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I gotta-
Barry sold his chiropractor thing, and so it was like, what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to
So
share
this
something
show,
that changed my life, JB. So this is something that changed.
please, Tommy.
And if it
I
wasn't
want to
for,
hear this.
if it wasn't for this show, this probably doesn't change my life. Go to talk about Instagram.
Cheeto.
Check out my guy Cheeto on
Nice.
Instagram. This is my guy right here. That's actually me at the canine shop right there. Hey, great hair, kid. Good, but like,
Which one? Which one is that? The Limbrook one?
it was
Massapequa.
Yeah, I like
Oh,
to
Massapequa. Yes, that is the Massapequa. I was just there.
That's super easy for me. But gang, if you're only listening to this as a podcast, my guy Cheeto is what I'm showing on Instagram. My G-U-Y, no G, what's that letter? G-U-Y, Cheeto. As it just like it sounds, my guy Cheeto with a Long Island accent. But and then
Tag me in it so I can follow you. Tag me to Rogue One Media on Instagram.
how beautiful.
Aw.
Oh, like that's guy, that's Cheeto. So what am I tagging? So we know.
It's the Rogue One Media so I could follow you.
All right, I'll tag you on this now, Rogue One Media. So, but that's what it's about. Like Valerie talks about this show changing our lives, and yeah, right.
That's what's great about a podcast. It really you meet people and that you never would have met. And I feel the same way about my podcast. I had 4 seasons of the P.A.L Academy. Met some tremendous people that I'm still like really close and friends with today. Never would have happened without it. So regardless of who's listening, who's watching, what your numbers are, it doesn't matter because like look at the changes that happen and people get caught up in we only had this many subscribers and this many views. It's like that you're meeting the people that you're meeting are the most important thing, and what you do with it is where you take it. So that's what you get out of it. And I see it all the time with people with podcasts is that they really expand their horizons and meet people that they never would have met. And you guys, I don't know, I would have met you because we met in person. So our meeting actually did not come from social media, but you know what? We're here now.
I'll tell you though, I think what Tommy wants to also drive home, right, is the ripple effect that we always talk about. And, you know, this little doggy Cheeto ended up in Tommy's home because we had a guest come on the show and he does these family pet expos and that are pet friendly. And so of course, Tommy was like, we got to go. And he took his family and that's where they fell in love with Cheeto.
Yeah, let me tell the story real quick.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
Let me tell the story really quick. What I did was I have 4 children and 2 boys, 2 girls, and I happened to just go walk the show with my daughters, no intention of getting a dog. Now Cheeto's 13 and a hook right now, 13 and a half pounds, you know, and before that, when we got him, he was like 5 and change, right? So he was this tiny little nugget, right? So I'm out there with the girls, and you know how they do with these shows, some of the rescues come through. And they just have the dogs there and the whole thing. So Cheeto's there, his sister Nutmeg is there, and the girls, like my girls, pick up the dog and they're like losing their minds. Like I got the picture, like forget about it, you know, losing it. And then my wife just happened to be, we were way out in Suffolk County here in Long Island, and my wife happened to be out there shopping with my sons, like 2-3 miles away, just like happened that way, right? And I tell her what's going on. And she's like, oh my God, the boys just heard you. They're losing it. Cause I'm like, because now my sons are not there. So they like hightail it over to it's like Suffolk County Community College, I think it is, right? So they show up, and it was like a thing you were supposed to like pay a ticket. It was like $2 or whatever, but it didn't. These boys barreled through people to try to get into the convention center because they heard this might be the day. And it was like, I don't know if the numbers are right, but it was like 98 applications for this particular guy. And my guy Cheeto, in case you haven't heard. But anyway, they're like we fill out the application. I call the woman Deborah, and I got to give Deborah a shout out. Let me look up the website for her. But I call her because I think I am Tommy D, and I do a lot for a lot of people. So I kind of manipulate things and get them the way I want. So I figured I'd call Deborah, make a new friend, tell her how great my kids are and the whole thing. And I never really got her on the phone. Long story short, we get the dog. She calls my wife. She's like, we're in. You're gonna get the dog. And Chris, my wife, I left message. I left message back and forth. The whole thing. We hadn't got it because she's so busy. Because these rescue folks are tiny sometimes, and they got a lot of things doing going on. And like it's not like it's just an IBM where you're calling and somebody's taking a phone call, and So the website for that, it's Positive Possibilities Rescue. Positive, Val. Don't you love that?
Yes.
Positive So go to positiverescue.org to check that out. If you're looking for a brand new puppy who needs a new home on Long Island, I'll put it on Facebook. But like this is so
98 applications and you got it. Now, do they vet it? Is it just a raffle? Is it just like, how do they decide like who's the best?
I guess, I mean, we had to fill out a bunch of stuff. It wasn't just like
So it's a vetting process that they did.
like, you know, and I think they, to be honest, like not to be silly about it, I think they probably remembered like who was engaging well with the puppies and stuff like that when they're out there. You know, so you got this crew of like, there's a lot of personality in my family, JB, as you might imagine. It mostly comes from my wife, but like it. But you can imagine these 4 kids who age from 13 down to 8, like enamored with this little puppy.
Yeah.
You know,
they're leaving an impression.
Right. And there, yeah, we leave. Yeah. We definitely leave an impression. Yeah. I remember my cousin Vinny. Yeah. You blend. We don't blend.
Right.
So they leave an impression. And I think, you know, that, and I do believe in that I have like the power to manipulate the universe. And I think, you know, we wanted this thing and the timing was right, because it ain't the first time, man. Valerie knows, and a lot of our listeners know, we've been down this road before, almost getting a dog. Shout out to Regina Mendoza. We love you, Regina. Camp Happy Tails NY. She texted me. She got something going on Long Island Valley. I gotta tell you about it. But Regina and I were pretty close to us adopting a dog from Regina. And, you know, the timing wasn't right with the stuff like that. But, you know, so like a lot of things in life, you know, the timing has to be right. And
the timing has to be right. And just for clarity, Regina was on our very first podcast show. Okay. And she runs a phenomenal rescue with the highest of standards. And what's interesting is that, so one of Tommy's kids, one of the boys, the older boy, is obsessed with dogs, right?
Yes, I remember that.
You know, he's like, every time he sees a dog, he's like, hey, I love your dog. I love your dog, you know. And because of this show, Tommy, who dedicates a lot of his time to volunteering, he does 60 days of service. He's always at a charitable function volunteering. And so he decided, you know what? I'm going to take my son and we're going to do a day of service at Camp Happy Tails. And he's going to get a taste of what it's like to be around dogs, but not just the fun stuff. You know, he was picking up some poopies and doing the walks and everything else. And they worked hard that day. But ultimately, the point is that because of the show, his son, as well as his whole family, are now very up to speed on adopting and volunteering.
Oh, yeah.
Making a difference.
That's going to carry over into when they're adults and have families of their own.
Yeah, that's Regina. She's so beautiful.
That's our friend Regina. I'm sharing this again. Camp Happy Tails NYC. I'm sharing it. If you're only listening, just go to the website. Camp Happy Tails.
Your first guest.
Yeah, and you know, actually, Val, do you remember the name of our first episode?
Puppy Mill Thugs.
Puppy Mill Thugs.
Yeah. And the other guest, her friend Reno, was a guy. He's a guy who owns a pizzeria in Roslyn. And I met him at an anti-puppy mill protest. He actually was beat up in a parking lot. Speaking of documenting, John, you're going to appreciate this. Yeah. He was in his car picking up his dry cleaning, and he witnessed 2 puppy mill delivery vans, transporters, that were getting ready to deliver to the pet store next door. So he started filming it, and the transporters from out of state saw him, and they pulled him out of his car, and they kicked the crap out of him. But
wow.
And then, so we all went to a rally there. I met Reno, and he would do it again, you know. And the good news is that not only did that store shut down a year later, but also New York finally passed the anti-puppy mill bill last year.
Where are your pom-poms? Get your pom-poms out. No.
Good job. Sound effect, applause, crowd screaming.
You know what we say here, JB? We say no big deal, just changing the world, just making the world a better place. That's what happens. That's the influence. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because in fact, it is the only thing that ever has. If you freaking want to do something, go do it. Like Nike, just do it. Like,
and never underestimate the value and power of your own voice.
Absolutely. 100%. Listen, freedom of speech is number 1 for a reason. The voice is powerful. You could topple empires with a voice.
And your show, what was it called? The P.A.L.
Academy. Yeah, so.
Because guess what? There's a good chance you're going to trip and stub your toe. Well, guess what? You moved forward. You move forward. You're further down the field. Let's get it. Let's make it happen. Let's change it.
People always look at failure as the dark enemy, and it's like you got to avoid failure at all costs. You can't admit you failed. You can't fail. If you fail, it's a failure. And it's like, no, you've got to fail to learn, to be better, and that's your foundation for success.
Maybe they taught us that. That's the problem. That's the challenge. Okay, it's pass fail, right?
Yeah.
It's you got a 64, well, you didn't pass. You got a 65, you passed. Okay, that's the problem.
Right.
It's
true.
Thing. That's the connotation it was given. And I know that. Look, I'm 45 years old. I grew up where failure was not good. It was not a good.
Right.
And
It's embarrassing. You're ashamed. All that stuff.
And you know what? You know what Edison did? Thomas Edison, right? When he made the incandescent bulb and he did it 10,000 times and they didn't work, he said, all I did was find 10,000 ways that it didn't work.
Exactly.
He didn't say I suck. He didn't say I failed. He said, I found 10,000 ways. So that's the thing, man. Get out there, get your hands dirty, scrape up your
go fall on your face. Go fail and learn. And you realize it's like nothing. It's actually your teacher. Failure is your teacher. You need it.
That's what I was just going to say. Maybe we should change it from pass fail to pass learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They say that acronym, they break out fail, FAIL, and they say first attempt in learning.
Nice.
Like it.
Right? It works. The alternative, what we learned growing up was like, well, that you're no good, you don't get it. I mean, like even one of my children, like she goes to mathnasium, and I think that's coaching, right? But some people take that as, well, you need a tutor. So what? I need tutors. You know how many coaches I have in my week every single day?
Everybody, yeah.
I don't get that.
It's a big industry, coaching. Everybody has a coach.
So it's peak performance. How do I get from here to there? Look, 50 years left I got on this planet, right? I'm going to be a much different guy 10 years from now, 20 years, right? And you have to do that. So it's about, I could go on a rant.
95 years. So you're checking out at 95. That's your game.
It seems to be what we've negotiated at this point, but who knows? Okay. If I get on a raw food diet like Cheeto, we might be here longer than that.
When do you put Cheeto on the show ever? Is he ever on the show?
He was. So that's funny.
Did you interview him?
Funny to ask. He interviews me most of the time.
He's the host.
Yeah. It's funny to tell, that's a great episode of the show, because what happened was I called Anya and Rob, and I let them know about the dog, and them and Valerie and Barry were in conversations about business and stuff, right? But I called Anya on a Sunday because I knew we were getting the dog, and I said, look, I don't know what I'm doing, and I got to come out there and the whole thing. I got to pick up some food and all, and because they gave me kibble from the rescue, because that's, of
course,
they used to, right?
Yeah.
So long story short, when I was talking to I texted Anya and Rob, I was like, do me a favor, don't tell Valerie, because I don't want her to know that I got a dog. I'm never going to tell her that I got a dog, because I want to see how many years. No, not at all. That's not it. Dang, that's the joke part. No, what I was saying was because I knew we do the show on Mondays, and we got the dog at like 5:00 on a Sunday. And what I did was we start the show, and I said, so many great things have happened because of the work we do here together, and so many relationships. And I just, what we do, I'm an actor a bit like you, JB. I just brought it out, drew it out, made a big deal. And they go, Val, there's some things happen. And one of my daughters was standing here with Cheeto. Some things like this might happen. Like I might get a dog.
I died that day. I was like, what?
Literally
I lost my mind. Oh my God. That was so great.
Your kids were waiting for like a long time for this to happen, right?
They've been, we've tried a couple times, and they've always, what little kid doesn't want a dog? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I had the 4 kids, and literally I have a white picket fence. So all we needed was a dog.
Absolutely. Maybe another one. You never know. You might get another one.
No, I mean, I at one point I said we should have got nutmeg too, but that's a whole nother thing.
Oh,
because if I think if we bring one more living creature in, I gotta go. So
how old is Cheeto?
Cheeto, his birthday is December 28th. So a couple weeks ago, he turned 6 months. So
he's really young, a real puppy.
Yeah, I'll text you a bunch of pictures. I'll send
you.
Next time you're here on the island, you can take him for a walk with me. We'll go for a walk.
Yeah.
So I got one quick question for Val, and then we gotta close up the show. So JB, I'm gonna ask my question, and I want you to then just give us a quick shout to how to find you and all that sort of stuff. So people that want to become friends with you, want to use your services, know how. So Val, my wife said to me the other day, so my dad's got the Rouse Italian Ices and the whole thing, and he hooks me up, and I do the charities and stuff like that. And he's like, so my wife is like, yo, your dad should have dog ice cream in the store too, and maybe sell it. So
We
what?
sell it.
Yeah, I know. So anything you want, any brands you like? I know you guys sell it in the store.
Yeah. So, okay, we carry Boss Dog. It's actually, they're going to be one of our guests coming up. It's called Boss Dog and Boss Dog, Boss Cat. But you don't want to give the ice cream to your cats because it has like fruit and stuff they shouldn't have. Anyway, but the dogs can have it. And they're adorable. They come in like these little 3.5-ounce containers, and they have like peanut butter and banana, or like cheddar and bacon, and it's all human grade quality. You can eat it, but it's
Yeah, I
supposed to be
wouldn't.
good for your dog.
Yeah.
What's it
And
made out of? Goat's milk, you said, or something?
Yeah, some lines have it with goat's milk. This one does use goat's milk as well. Other brands I've seen use coconut milk and coconut oil to kind of make it creamy. And I just made a batch for my own dog and the dogs over here in the neighborhood. I made, so I have a neighbor, his dog is named Opie, and we happen to have a cantaloupe. So I'm calling my first flavor Cantaloupe.
Oh my God.
Cantaloupe. So
Cantaloupe
maybe you
cream-
label it and sell it to the
Creamsicle.
Tommy's dad's place.
Yeah, and you know what? It's cantaloupe. I did coconut milk, so it's dairy free, and also a little turmeric, anti-inflammatory,
Turmeric.
and a little locally sourced raw honey.
Wow, you're
Yum.
giving away your secret recipe.
Yeah. Come on. See, Barry,
What's in-
he's dying over there. Wherever you're listening to half, we're sorry. Val, I just wanted you to just tell me a little bit about ice cream. Don't give me all the treats. God forbid
Man,
you down to Atlanta and get
that's what happens. You get caught for an hour.
Forget about it. You're gonna give the.
Welcome. Oh yes, I know Mr. Wallflower. I know all about it.
I don't even know.
This guy sent me a video of himself driving back from New York. He sent me 3 videos.
You wanted updates.
I'm
said, I
so-
want updates.
I'm so tired. Oh my God. But look at the
4 in the
sun.
morning. I'm on the road. And I'm sending her videos of updates.
All right. Well, here's what I need an update on. How do we get in touch with you, JB?
Yeah, rogue1media.com. You go to the website. You could go to the social media. If you're on Instagram, go to Rogue One Media. You could go to Rogue One Media Facebook. You could go to Rogue One Media YouTube. So it's pretty simple. And it's Rogue One, like behind me, with the number 1 media. And just say hello, just throw a comment, leave a message, and we can chat it up. Or
And I really
find me on
just wanna thank you, John.
bouncing
I
around
really-
on the canine shop.
I really want to thank you also for breaking out of your comfort zone and coming on camera.
Yeah, it's just listen, the Fail Academy, I have to practice what I preach. You got to step out into the unknown.
Yeah, really. Fell forward. Really.
Listen, Val, you do very well on camera, and I think I'm going to hold this against you next time. So,
You're
you know,
not
'cause
allowed.
on the podcast, she is like all business. She doesn't hesitate, but when she's not on the podcast, it's like she doesn't want to go near this camera, and it's kind of getting annoying.
Yeah. Well, you know what? She showed off a camera. Everybody who's only listening, she showed off a camera again. What a wise
Oh,
guy.
God.
Leave you with this, as we do when we end this program every time. First, gratitude for Valerie Heffron, but I also leave you with this: the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Make it a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Nice. Bye.
Thank you.